Hey, it's your friend Choice DJ here, and I'm coming to you guys today with my Week 7 team builder of the PMC D-League. We are the coach of the Baltimore Oriolus, and this week we are taking on our good buddy and arch rival, Adam the Bee's Knees, coach of the Kansas City Kakunas. Now, let's quickly go over his team, and then we'll talk a little bit about the matchup and the history. Now, he does have a Genesect, Latios, Mega Gyarados, Mamoswine, Porygon 2, Rotom Heat, Mienshao, Gourgeist, Regirock, Florges, and Muck. So let's just go ahead and say right here. So Adam's been dominating the PMC D-League, I would say. He's had the best record for a lot of the season. He no longer has the best record. I think he has the second best record or third best record or something like that now, because he had a loss in his Week 6 match to Aki, who has a ridiculous team, but we'll talk about that another time. So he's been a top-tier competitor in this league. We also know, of course, that Adam has been a top-tier competitor in previous leagues. We have been in a league with him in UBC Season 2. We were in a league with him in Orange League Season 2. And he has routinely done very, very, very well. He beat us in the Orange League, and he went on into the playoffs of that league. In the UBC Season 2, he and I actually met in the championship, and I beat him in the regular season, and so it was a good opportunity for a rematch. The pressure was very high because, it was not, I don't want to say I was expected to win. It was a very even matchup, but, just by nature of the fact that I had beaten him earlier in the season, I think people were thinking more that I might win, and we were very fortunate to come through with a victory in that championship. We were crowned as the champions of UBC Season 2, but that was then, and this is now, and while we have our playoff spot locked up, there is no way that we cannot make the playoffs. We might not be the division leader, but we will definitely make the playoffs no matter what. I do still want to do my best against Adam, just because these sorts of matches are always very good. They are always very close. The thing that's sort of funny is that if we do win, there is a chance that we play Adam again in round 1 of the playoffs. So the way it would work would be if I win, but he still ends up with a better differential than Orso. I'll be the 2 seed, he'll be the 3 seed. If he beats me, and Aki wins, and I end up with a better differential than Orso, then I'll be the 3 seed, he'll be the 2 seed. It's also possible that, he ends up as the 1 seed and I end up as the 4 seed, and he ends up as the 4 seed and I end up as the 1 seed. So it's just really hilarious to think of all the different possibilities that we're going to have to do this all again next week. But anyway, I tried not to let that come into account in my team building here. Try to just prepare it as best I can. And we do have a team of 6 that I am going to hop right on into. Starting with our Katara, the Manaphy, Toxic Scald, Knockoff U-Turn with leftovers, Timid, Max HP with a lot of defense investment. Now, this is probably not the Manaphy spread that you typically expect. Manaphy is known for doing a few things, going for Tail Glow, going for Calm Mind, getting Scald Burns. This sort of utility set is not really normal, I guess. We've seen people like Pokegame use sets like this in the past, not necessarily with like Scald and U-Turn and stuff, but like with Toxic that are defensive. Also, Super Blah, the GBA, has used things like U-Turn Manaphy in the past. Manaphy does a lot of work versus his team with an offensive set, but it is because it does so well offensively that I've decided to bring this utility set. I think he's going to be packing a lot of checks for this thing, like offensively, and then we can just sort of try and cripple those things with things like knockoff and toxic, and then we can pivot around very easily with U-turn, go into a Pokemon that takes it on a lot better. And that's really the whole idea here. And if it works, I know it's really going to tilt Adam, and that is almost enough by itself to run this set. So I don't know that it really walls anything in particular, but it's going to do things like lure in the Porygon 2, lure in the Latios, and things like that. Like I could definitely see him packing like a Yachi Berry Latios to try and counter this thing. Packing Thunderbolts and stuff like that. Now let's move on to the next member, Andre the Emboar. Emboar's been an all-star for us this season. We're packing Fire Punch, Superpower, Iron Head, and Sucker Punch. We have Blaze, not Reckless, because we are not running Flare Blitz or any recoil moves for that matter. This is the Genesect check. And I did make it like mixed defensive because obviously Genesect can be mixed attacking. We put a little bit extra into Spadef, so that way when he gets the download boost, he gets an attack boost, because he doesn't really have as much coverage to hit us with special with physical moves on the special side. He does have like Psychic, which can hit us pretty hard. He does have Aerial Ace on the physical side to hit us, but I don't think that he's going to bring that. Sure, he could, but I don't see Adam doing it. Maybe I'll regret saying that. But Fire Punch easily OHKOs the Genesect. I don't foresee him staying in at any point. Maybe he thinks he can OHKO me with some sort of move, and I can snipe a kill there. Superpower is nice for the Porygon, and I guess potentially the Mamoswine. We're not staying in on any sort of Mamoswine, but maybe we can catch it on the switch. Iron Head is for Florges, and for Regirock, if we need. I guess Superpower also hits Regirock, but if we don't want to get those defense drops, we can do that. And then Sucker Punch is nice for Latios. It's also nice for Genesect if we need, and stuff like that. So this thing is pretty good defensively, I think. I think it's going to catch him off guard. And yeah, it's just like the nicest thing I have for Genesect. Genesect just doesn't really have any counters, and I don't have a really good way to counter it offensively. Unless I bring like Scarf Fire Punch Sneasel or something like that, but obviously that doesn't sound that amazing. Next we've got a mixed defensive Skarmory with Spikes, Roost, Whirlwind, and Brave Bird. This thing also can wall some members of his team, such as Florges, such as Muck. And one thing I have noticed about Adam's team is he doesn't have amazing hazard removal. Yes, he has Latios, which can remove hazards, but that's really it. I don't think he has any other Pokemon that learn Defog. So we're gonna try and abuse that a little bit. It's true that Pokemon like his own Latios and Rotom don't take any damage from Spikes, but most of the rest of his team does. He actually doesn't have a great ground resist on his team. I wish I could bring like a more offensive Seismitoad, but I chose not to. Whirlwind, in case he decides to like set up with Florges on us, or with Latios on us, or anything like that. If he has like Calm Mind, Bolt Beam on Latios, it's kind of a problem. I don't know that I'll be able to beat that. But yeah, this should be able to take Dracos all day. It can also, what else can it take on his team? Porygon doesn't really care about. It doesn't care about Mienshao. We don't want to get burned from the Gourgeist, so we'll have to keep that in mind. But we can take on the Regirock pretty easily with this Skarmory. I think I've brought Skarmory almost every week since I picked it up. This thing's been an all-star. But anyway, now let's go into Seismitoad. Stealth Rock, Scald, Drain Punch knockoff with Yachi Berry. Defensive spread, this is going to be really good for his Mamoswine. It can also potentially take on the Gyarados in a pinch. We do have Drain Punch, which is going to do nice damage, and it functions as some recovery to make up for the fact that we don't have leftovers. We have Yachi Berry because I do anticipate Freeze Dry from the Mamoswine, and so in order to not get straight up killed by that, we have the Yachi Berry. We can retaliate with a Scald and then eventually get our rocks up. The rocks are going to be really important because they're going to wear down the Rotom Heat, the Genesect, and things like that. I just thought it was a nice bring, and knockoff is also very nice to have. I like having so many knockoff users on my team. Obviously, I'm not bringing Sneasel this week, which is my main knockoff user, but it's all good. Now we have Afroman, Encore, Giga Drain, excuse me, Moonblast, and U-Turn. This is another Gyarados check. We can Encore it into Substitute, or into Dragon Dance, or into Toxic. It is possible that he brings like Subtoxic to deal with Mega Sableye, which as you can see, I'm not bringing. Because it just doesn't have a great matchup here. It's crazy, we only brought Sableye 3 times this season, and we're only going to end up bringing Manaphy 3 times if you include this game. So I don't know that this season went at all went anything like what I thought it would. But we are 4-2 and going to the playoffs, so what can you really complain about? It's just nice, you know. This can also, it can get off a hit on the Latios, or sorry, not Latios, Latios. If it doesn't have Ice Beam, it can't do a whole lot to us. Psyshock does do a good bit, and if he's packing Psychic instead of Psyshock, we are going to take a lot. But we'll see. U-turn for momentum. We can go into another nice wall or offensive Pokemon if we need. You know, this Pokemon is just also nice for Regirock and other stuff like that. Finally, we've got probably the most fun set of the week. We've got Powerup Punch, Akaberry, Jirachi with Meteor Mash, Zen Headbutt, and Fire Punch. I think if we can whittle down his team, this can definitely win. Now, he doesn't have, the reason I decided to bring this to begin with is just because his team, it does have Genesect, it does have Latios. Otherwise, his team is kinda slow. Yes, you've got Mienshao at base 105, certainly. He could bring that versus me, but I'm not expecting him to. Because I've got Sableye and Whimsicott and stuff like that, Seismitoad, Sharna. I don't think it has a great matchup. Latios is most likely coming, but we take that on pretty well if he's lacking HP Fire. If he is HP Fire, we do have Akaberry, but that's not why I'm bringing it. I'm bringing it to lure in a Genesect. And actually, what we should probably do is we should try and lower this so that way he gets a defense boost, not a special attack boost. So that way his flamethrowers are not powered up against me. But yeah, so I think if we can weaken his team, shuffle it around, make it take some spikes damage, if we can get Latios out of the way, I really do foresee this Jirachi putting in a great amount of work. His best switch into this is Gyarados. If you know, because I don't have a move to hit it really other than Powerup Punch, so we'll have to keep that in mind as well. But I have some Gyarados answers. It does a lot to Skarmory, and it also has Mold Breaker to break through Sturdy, but we are pretty defensive, so it's unlikely that we'll get O-Code. So we can Whirlwind that out if the need comes up and stuff like that. But we do those things. Jirachi has a lot of fun. We can't set up on stuff like Rotom, but we can set up easily on Porygon. We can set up on Florges. We can set up on, not really Gourgeist, because that thing has a potential Will-O-Wisp. We can set up on Regirock, I would say. Mamoswine, it's kind of tough. Like, what if he's Scarf? He's done that in the past. But this thing doesn't really want to take a Meteor Mash. So there's ample opportunity, I think. And even Muck. Like, Muck can't do a whole lot back to us. Does Muck get Earthquake? No, it doesn't even get Earthquake. Does it get, like, Bulldoze or anything trash like that? No, it does not. So, yeah, I think this Jirachi is going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Jirachi is then another All-Star. Yeah, the All-Stars of this season have very easily been Jirachi, Skarmory, and Emboar. With special mention to like Sableye, and Sneasel's been nice. It's been a nice pickup. Heliolisk I've liked using. Sandslash I've brought one time, and Musharna I've brought twice. So, anyway, this has been a pretty long team builder. You might be seeing a very similar team builder the following week because, as I mentioned, there's a high probability that we face Adam again. Adam, if you're watching, obviously you'll know the result by now, but good luck, have fun. It's always a great time battling you, and I look forward to seeing you in the playoffs. I wish there were a way we could both meet in the championship, but obviously that can't happen. So I just hope that we have a bunch of good games that are not too filled with hacks, and may the better man win. So thank you guys for watching. Please be sure to check back for more Pokemon content, and until the next time, I will see you guys later.